What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Yogi Show. My name is Pedro Luna. I'm a co-host here on the Yogi Show alongside Yogi Brian. Today's episode is sponsored by Ajna Wellbeing. They are an absolutely amazing company that creates super high quality yoga, meditation, and acupressure products. I fell in love with Ajna Wellbeing way before they sponsored the show. It was over a year and a half ago that I got their acupressure mat off of Amazon to help relieve some tension in my back and in my shoulder. It's been a super big game changer for me. I'm obsessed with their new meditation cushion, have been using it daily since the beginning of 2020 when I started my journey to sit more and do less. Check out their amazing line of products at amazon.com/Ajna and use code YOGISHOW15 for 15% off your purchase. That's amazon.com/Ajna, which is AJNA, just like the chakra, and use promo code YOGISHOW15 for a 15% discount. On today's episode of the show, we have an inspiring and exciting conversation on tap for you with the founder of Synergy Yoga, Francisco Morales-Bermudez. Francisco is a longtime friend of mine and the guy that actually inspired me to take my first ever yoga class. You're going to hear all about it on the show. He has been such an inspiration in my life and offers so much value and knowledge on all things yoga, growing community, being of service, and his homeland, Peru. He's been leading yoga retreats and trainings around the globe for over 15 years and has an abundance of knowledge to share with you. So get ready to be inspired and book a plane ticket to Peru. Let's go. And we are live. Thank you for being on the show, Mr. Francisco from Peru. How you doing tonight, brother? Thanks for being here, man.
Pretty good, man. I'm very happy to be here. I've been following all your work for quite a while, my brother. So it's cool to be kicking it.
Dude, so cool to be here. You're in Peru right now, right? You are in Peru?
Yeah, I'm in Peru right now. I try to get back here as much as I can. You know, the food is way too good, and I like it. I travel so much, so getting back here to the home food and the family and the ocean vibes just gives me a little bit of energy to keep flowing and traveling.
No doubt, man. No doubt. Brian doesn't know anything about the ocean. He's in the desert. He's in Phoenix. What's up, Brian?
I'm in the desert. I'm in Phoenix, Arizona. It is cold here, though, in the mornings and in the evenings. But Francisco, how is it going tonight?
Tonight, it's going well, man. I'm here for a couple more days. Just recently finished the little journey. I brought a group of tourists, like about 20 yoga travelers here, took them to Machu Picchu and did a little sojourn through the Sacred Valley of Peru. So now I'm having a little mellow time with family. Very nice to be here.
How amazing, fun. Life does not suck for Francisco. Everybody out there, life does not suck for Francisco out there. Pedro, how you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I finally figured out how to use my camera that I plugged in for the last 3 episodes that didn't actually work. And now I look like I'm like stunning in HD with my kitty cat headphones on. So if you've been watching on YouTube, if you're not watching on YouTube, you need to go to YouTube. You need to check it out. Now my camera actually works and you can see what's actually happening here. So
yeah, you can see Pedro's beautiful face.
You can like see the whole thing in full beauty. Francisco, I just saw your pictures of Rainbow Mountain. And we can kick it off with Peru, where we're going to go with the show. We'll talk about all things that you got going on. I mean, you're an amazing being. You've been in my life since I started my yoga journey. We'll talk about that in a second, but I want to hit on that picture while we had Peru on the brain. Rainbow Mountain. Tell me what it's like to go up there and that beauty. How many times have you been there?
So this was my first time ever.
Oh, wow.
To Rainbow Mountain. Yeah. And, I've been leading groups to Peru since like 2005, like once or twice a year. They change every year, and I try to just keep growing with the groups. My intention originally was to learn more about my own culture. Mm-hmm. So I started to organize these groups, but this was the first time, man. First time in Rainbow Mountain.
What was it like up there?
Yeah. The journey up there, like getting there was very amazing, and it's beautiful. Like Peru is a country with like the largest variety of microclimates in the world, so it's got a lot of variety of climate patterns and a lot of variety of food. And Yeah, it's majestic, but the journey getting up there was amazing because it's 17,000 feet high
17,000?
elevation.
Man, you
Yeah.
know the highest elevation in Florida is like 350 feet, people. 350. I can throw a baseball that high.
Which is
Yeah,
ridiculous.
yeah, totally. I think like the largest, the highest peak in Florida is like Mount Trashmore
It's
in
Mount
like South Florida. I think
it's by
like
my house. It's 20 minutes away. I know where it is.
Oh, really?
Yes, I'm not even joking.
Yeah, like Zephyr Hills water is supposed to be from Florida, but I'm just like, there are no hills up there at all. Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, man. So, but it's amazing that you're on the show from Peru. That's your homeland. You're doing experiences, then retreats that you've led there. And I want to give a little bit of back history to everyone out there about how I met Francisco and the important part of like us being on the Yogi show right now, like in this moment, having this conversation. If I didn't meet Francisco, I'm not entirely sure that I would have like started yoga. Like, and that's not even a joke. It's not even a joke. So I had a broken wrist in 2011, and Francisco was in town where I live back in Chicago with a group of people, and they did a synergy workshop, which is like his thing, and he'll tell us all about that in a bit. And I met
shout out to Neighbor Thrill,
Neighbor Thrill, and I met him, and I was so inspired by his story and all the things and the healing and his journey he was sharing with people. I was going through so much stress and anxiety at the time, and I was like, okay, after I am done with this broken wrist, I'm going to try this yoga thing. Like I'm going to give it a whirl because like I felt like I didn't have anywhere else to go. And you really kicked the door open for me, an invitation as a male to go experience it. And it was life-changing, man. So I have so much gratitude for you in my life. So thank you for that and for being on the show tonight, man. No joke, man. It's been a ride, and thank you for kicking it off for me.
Yeah, man, it's great. I mean, it's great to have this brotherhood without a doubt. But people are wondering like, how did you break your wrist? Though, because
I know, right? Do you punch something, didn't you, Pedro?
Dude, okay.
Did you punch something?
It's June. It's June in Chicago. The sun sets at like 8:45. There's two kids at the skate park, me and some other dude.
Yeah.
And a backside board.
I remember this story.
Backside board slide on a rail. I nicked my truck hit the rail and I fell backwards, and I planted my wrist behind me, and it just. And so I had to drive to the yoga studio where my ex was teaching at the time. And I walked in there like, yo, I think I broke my wrist. She's like, you're fine. I was like, no. I've already broken these like twice each. I understand that this is probably broken and we need to go to the hospital. Yeah. And so we went to the hospital and shit was broken. So
oh, man.
It was a wild time. But you know what? Like everything happens for a reason.
So what did I say? I'm curious, like, what did I say that actually like got you to
got me to do it? It was like I remember saying like, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna try it, and you're like, no bro, like you need to rehab that wrist because like you're not 15 anymore. I was like 26 or whatever. He's like, it's gonna like, you need to take time to heal, and like the yoga and the poses can help you like strengthen your wrist and get your flexibility back, and it was like a physical thing. But in my head, I was going through a lot of stress and anxiety, and I had kind of like knew that was a thing for yoga, but you gave me the push with the physical. I was like, oh, like this can help me rehab this, so like I should go do that. So that was kind of the invitation.
Cool.
Yeah,
cool.
That was it, man. And then I was there. Brian, did you ever have anything like that with yoga? Like,
I'm just loving this right now. I'm loving this right now. I'm loving the bromance. And anybody out there, if you need your husband or your boyfriend to listen to something, have them listen to this, because us bros do experience anxiety and all those stress, emotions, man. And we do need, which I love, Francisco, that you were that. Just the bro that embraced Pedro in a rough time. I felt that because I love that we have video now. I was seeing Pedro's facial expressions, and he's got some emotions going on there. Like, that was a tough time.
It was, bro.
That I'm reading. I'm just reading the facial expressions. And that was a rough time. And it's like, you were there as just like a bro to like embrace that and be like, hey, you're not 16 anymore. Like, come take this yoga practice. And it's like, that's what he needed to hear. And it changed his life. Obviously, he's wearing cat headphones on a Yogi Show podcast. I mean,
yeah, man. I mean, I think in our culture, like that type of communication is like, it's like it for dudes and for brothers, it's like, it needs to be more accepted in a way.
Yeah.
Cause I think I kind of get what you're trying to put out there without a doubt, it's like, we all need community,
Yes.
and I'm really stoked that you got this like Yogi Bro, podcast like out there, because you're going to be bringing a different flavor to the conversation, and yoga is like quite a myriad of expressions, and this expression is definitely necessary. So I think that just the case that Pedro put out there and how he started practicing, and just another brother reaching out and talking to him straight up about the body and how that linked and resonated with him. We all need that.
We all need that. We all need it like in a non-competitive way, as like a man, non-competitive way, because like, I don't know, for me, like, and we're going to talk about this. We talked about this pre-show before we recorded. You have a wrestling background, and I have a golf background. I used to play competitive golf. I got a golf scholarship, and I was just competitive as fuck, like competitive. I wanted to annihilate the competition. Like, no one's my friend now, and then I come to yoga, and it's like, we're a community. How the fuck do I do this? It's like, we're all just trying to get better and trying to heal,
Yeah. And I think that was the other part that I noticed about Francisco, is that when he came to town, it was a workshop that he had led for a group for it was like a week intensive. And he created there was this sense of community when I went to this gathering where I met him, about all these yoga people connecting. And I was like, man, like, I want to be some part of something greater like this. Like, these people are all like-minded. They're having fun. They're doing something that's healthy for themselves. So creating community is like, that's my number one now these days, is creating community, and everything that I do is the word community is like part of every single thing that I do. So, and I know, Francisco, you've created community all over the world. Like, you've created all over the world. What does it look like for you now these days, Francisco, creating community? Like, what does that mean to you? Like, where you're at in your life now after you've done so much?
It's funny because sometimes when you're really deep in it, it's hard to be quite as reflective and be like, what does it look like to me?
Yeah.
It looks nice. It's like, I'm so deep in it. I just keep going. I guess it's part of my nature and I'm learning, I guess, is like part of my nature now. With a lot of the work I'm doing is I get really driven by certain themes. Before I taught yoga, I was working with the National Park System, and I ran a nonprofit doing education programs, trying to create more like historic sites in the United States that told like all stories. I'm an immigrant to the United States. I'm, like you're saying, it's like, I'm from Peru. So I went to high school in the States, and I didn't really learn a lot about the United States history in high school. So after high school, I started traveling and like, I don't know, maybe you guys did, but like,
I don't even remember shit from high school, man.
Yeah. So for me, I was like,
just
still kind of like trying to. What's that, brother?
Just beer pong. That's what I learned in high school.
Beer pong and beer pong. Yeah, champ. I hear you, champ. Yeah. So I started like, I was working I started an event called like a Mosaic in Motion, and it brought like Native American communities, African American, Latinos together to talk about how we all are part of this fabric in the United States. And the United States ideally is, they talk a lot about it as like a melting pot, but in my vision, it's like, we're not a bunch of people that melt into one monoculture. We are more like a I don't know. I've been in Peru, so I'm thinking a lot of food lately. I've been eating a lot of home cooking food, so a lot of my analogies are food related.
I'm telling you, every time I record, I get so hungry. I need to eat before, like, every guest like makes me so hungry. Francisco, thank you. Like, you've hit. I'm starving now.
So it's like, it's more like to me, the U.S., instead of being like the melting pot that y'all melt, that it's like we melt into one monoculture. It's more like a soup of mixed vegetable, and we all got like our own flavor. We all got our own ingredient, but we kind of share this communal broth, and that's the U.S. history. It's like, creating more historic monuments to tell more stories, because the US is pretty amazing. Like, I mean, man, if you start learning about Hawaiian culture, and all the myth, the myths and the folk stories, and Peru is very much based on folk stories. Like in the mountains right now, because I'm doing a lot of retreats to Peru, a lot of the stories are based around, like, a lot of the culture is the foundation of the culture in Peru is around these folk stories and traditions. Like the Pachamama is not just like a hippie thing,
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's a very ferocious Mother Earth who's very potent and feeds us, So nowadays, I guess, like, as far as like building community, I just put out my website, which is I'll give it the plug. It's like synergy.yoga. And I'm surrounding myself by people that are a lot better at different things than I am. And we are kind of like a team. My buddy Salim, who lives in Nairobi, he does the Synergy Flow, which is a Vinyasa teacher training. And he also runs Capoeira Angola group, which is Afro-Brazilian martial art in Kibera, which is the largest slum in Africa. And he's in charge of the Vinyasa program, the Synergy Flow. My friend Margie, she's in Jersey, and she runs the Synergy Kids teacher training. My buddy Saulo and Janal, who do movement and meditation. My buddy Eric. So we got a team of people, and you can go to we call it the Synergy Circle. So I've been traveling like crazy, and just being, the one thing I keep learning is that at the end of the day, all of us want community, and, and asana is beautiful. And some of us go to the yoga studio sometimes more than for the yoga class, to just like rekindle our friendships and meet these people that we're there to support each other.
It's all about community. I don't know if I read it or I saw something somewhere that like United States is like a culture that is so lonely. Like we're so lonely here. Like we got so much stuff and we got so much connection, but we're just like lonely because like it's not something where it is like community, where it is like, how can I explain this? Like it's very competitive. Like say that competitive. It's like we're all trying to like get ahead and like make it, and it's like us, and instead of like we. And one thing I actually looked up the word community yesterday, like what the definition was, because my yoga studio, when I did my training, like their whole thing was community as a verb, which I love that. It's like community is a verb. Nice. Like if you're going to be a part of the community, like it's action. Like no matter where you're at in the community, like you got to take action with it.
Yeah, man. Action. I like that. I mean, that's love is action. Thich Nhat Hanh, that little awesome Buddhist monk, talks about that.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Love is defined in terms of action. Action.
So if you're part of the community, take action.
Yeah.
Out there, everybody.
Do something. Francisco. So when you said your body, I knew a lot about you, but I did not know that you broke your spine back in the day. Was that when you were wrestling?
Yeah.
Was that when you were wrestling?
No.
And is that what, so tell us about that. And is that what propelled your yoga journey, or get us to your yoga journey, how this all began for you? Because it's inspiring. Like stories like this are inspiring. So please let us know.
Okay. I think so. I had a car accident. My body went through the windshield of a car and hit a tree.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
So
damn.
I broke my spine, and but it was like, I've always been really physical. Like I express my creativity through my body, my first job when I immigrated to the States with my little sister, we were dancing at a Peruvian restaurant, doing like folkloric Afro-Peruvian dances and stuff, so I've always been using my body, playing soccer, wrestling, had a wrestling scholarship like you touched on, and so when my body was limited, it was like I could either like give up, or I could just continue to like figure out how to liberate my body from pain, because you can't unbreak your spine.
Gosh.
Yeah. Is that your cat?
Yeah.
I got like 3 cats. I got several cats and a dog and a wife around here somewhere. So
Cool. So it'll be flowing through.
yeah, exactly.
Man. Anybody
I
can
love
drop in
cats.
at any time on these shows, people.
Yeah, we'll play a game out there, everybody. Like if you're watching the YouTube, like you can mark down black cat, like you got it, and then white cat, you got it, and then dog, and then wife.
Check all the boxes
Check all the boxes. If you get them all,
for a prize.
win a sticker.
Nice. So can I brag about myself for a sec?
Go ahead,
Brag.
man.
Brag it
all
up.
you
So,
want,
okay.
man.
So you're gonna look at my bio, you see all this stuff, you know, that I've done or whatever. But I did teach my cat in college how to go to the bathroom in the toilet. You know?
Wow.
That's so good. That's the best
I think
line
out
I
of
ever
all
heard on the
my-
show.
That is, yeah.
That was anyways, we can talk about that later. But yeah.
It's gonna be the quote on Francisco's image card. I teach my cat how to go to the bathroom on
We'll
the
have a
toilet in
cat. We'll
college.
have a cat going to the restroom. Well, no.
Yeah.
We'll get
That's
viral.
So good.
viral.
Yeah,
Francisco.
viral AF, man. Viral AF.
Yeah, put all the kitty litter business
Gosh,
people out.
Yogi also, animal lover, cat lover. Gosh, we
Yeah.
I
know.
love it, man. I love it, man. So how-
Ocean lover. But yeah, so the journey
us back,
into yoga, it was like, so I started hanging from a pull-up bar to create traction in the area that was broken. I stopped sleeping in a bed for a little while just because the floor a lot of these were just innate things. I didn't really think about it too much. I've never been like a super analytical. There's a car alarm going off, by the way. I don't know if you can hear
we
that
don't
or
hear it.
not.
It's okay.
It's cool.
okay.
My fire
Okay,
alarm
cool.
went off on the Yogi show one time. It's cool.
Cool. I'm
good.
in Lima right now. It's a 10 million coastal city, you know? So I started hanging on the pull-up bar. I got gravity boots. These little boots are called hang-up boots, and you just hook them on the pull-up bar and hang like a bat.
Whoa.
You
So
just
you're
hang
the
upside down,
Batman.
basically.
You're the Batman.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So
You
I
found the
started
Batman,
hanging.
ladies and gentlemen.
I just
Did.
like to hang, you know? Yeah. So I started doing different things, getting in the water quite a bit, you know, because that would take a lot of the compression away from like the areas that were traumatized, you know, and then how I started yoga, like actually the first yoga class I went to was in college at University of Miami, actually. And my girlfriend took me and I fell asleep in the class.
Really?
And I remember, I
Shavasana,
totally
or
fell
was
asleep.
it was it like,
Savasana or before?
was it
Savasana?
before? Was this like before?
Oh,
like
but
the
way
class?
before.
Like,
I was asleep like 10 minutes in.
Was this yin?
what kind of class was it?
You know, it was supposed to be a vinyasa, but it started really mellow.
Okay.
And I had been studying a lot for exams, so I was like super tired. And I was just out, you know? And I remember it was a really tranquil experience.
That's awesome, man.
And I obviously didn't remember anything except for I associated with like a really good rest, you know?
Yeah.
You needed it.
And then, yeah, for sure, man.
I was
like later on.
I thought.
Go ahead.
Sorry, I want to interrupt real quick. I thought it was going to be like a yin class, and then I'd be like, "Oh, okay. Well, if you fell asleep early in the yin class, no big deal, right?"
Yeah.
But you said like my worst, like the worst nightmare. It was a vinyasa class, like that started out slow. So you like everybody's like flowing, right? And you're like passed out in class.
Yeah.
I just wanted to
I
come
was
back to that because
out.
that has to be funny. Like if anyone was there, like comment, please. I want to know if you were in that
Send us
class.
a
I wanna
message.
know.
That was
Keep going.
1995.
Sorry.
1995. Dang,
1995.
Yeah.
20.
And then that was a long time, man. But then it was like, so the reason I immigrated to the States was because my mom was sick and they couldn't treat her in Peru. So we came to the United States, and the doctors started to give her a lot of medicine, a lot of pepitas. We call them like pills. And that started kind of like a little bit affecting her. And then she started going to yoga, and I was like, and I started to see like a change in her just energetically. I was like, Mom, what have you been doing? She's like, I've been going to yoga. I was like, wow. So that was like my second like association with whatever yoga was about.
Right.
Was that my mom was like just getting better, getting healthier. And then I was like, what do you want to do for your birthday? She's like, come to yoga with me. And then I went to yoga with her, and I actually took the whole class. that second time. Yeah. So that was like my,
Stayed
my
awake.
second
Good job, man.
intro. Yeah. That was like my first actual class. Yeah.
Nice, man.
You're like,
Yeah.
I stayed for the ohm. Like I
Yeah.
was awake for the ohm at the end.
At the end.
It
Man.
was a success.
I was alert. I am
Basically,
awake.
my
and
girlfriend like gave me a nudge at the end, you know? Yeah.
You made it. You got 30 minutes past the class. So.
Yeah.
That's so good, dude.
Yeah.
You know, and let me ask you this question. So nowadays, right? So like that was your introduction to yoga. And then were you pretty consistent thereafter that? Like, did you, once you started going with your mother, like, did you find consistency right away? Like, this is what I'm going to do?
Yeah, well, I bought a book. Like, it was a pretty cool place. It was this guy Victor. He was like a Peruvian astrologist, and he had this ashram in Maryland, right outside DC.
Mm-hmm.
And he would have like the leader of this like Zapatistas come over, and like he would like interview him, and we would have a discussion on like the weekends. It was a pretty unique place, you know. And so I bought a book, and I would started doing 3 postures a day from the book. That was like and I would did them daily, you know? So I did start practicing daily, like by myself,
Yep.
At home. And then I would go to the ashram like once every 2 weeks or something like that.
That just goes to show people you don't have to go to the yoga studio to be doing yoga asana. Like you can do it on your own, even like way before online yoga. You could do it out of a book. Way back in the day.
Yeah, and you don't have to stay awake your first class.
Either. Nope.
Yes.
Don't have to do that either. Boom.
Click it.
You don't have to do that either.
Yeah.
But on the real, right? Like nowadays, everything is so fast, right? For instance, like social media is fast, cars are fast, power vinyasa is one breath, one movement. All this stuff.
Power
is so
bar,
fast.
Power vinyasa, power aid, power lunch.
Power all of it, you know, power nap, you know, power everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Power podcast.
This is the power podcast hour, people. But like,
power puff.
How are you teaching people? You don't have to be sorry on this show. We got the wild card in the top left corner of my screen.
Yeah, Pedro's already like, shut the fuck up, Brian. This whole show. So, and every show. So
Nice.
you're good. You're good.
Cool.
You're good,
Cool.
Francisco.
Right on. Yeah. What do you got, kitty cat? What do you?
But how are you? I'm getting trolled on my own show. But how are you leading these experiences that you're leading around the world, right? How are you slowing it down? Like, how are you slowing these people down with the modalities that you're teaching them? Like, what are you teaching them and what are you offering to help bring like people like, whoa, we got to bring it down. It's not all about that power, this, that, the other anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I think one of the things that's really helpful to me is where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Because the culture here moves in a lot of respect to the earth. So in that regard, it's kind of grounded, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you go to the Andes and you go to the farmlands, and you go to the mountains, you see the Quechua people in these tribes move very rhythmically with the earth. So when I do trainings and when I do retreats, oftentimes I take people, I do it there, you know. So it's not about me; it's about like, you know, just being like setting up things so they can chill, like making a nice room for them, making really good food, like things so they can relax, and then and then appreciate the nature and the culture of their surroundings, you know. And then just, man, it's a lot of listening, you know. It's like Thich Nhat Hanh, you know, back to my favorite Buddhist monk, and it's like, you know, he talks about like, you know, in order to love, you have to have understanding.
Mm-hmm.
And in order to understand, you have to learn to listen, you know, and that's just observing people and, you know, it's action. Like you were saying, just back to what you're going back to, community, you know, and just learning how to connect with people. You know, we all got some kind of something going on. We've all been through some kind of struggle, and it's all unique, you know, and if you think someone else is not going through a struggle, you're confused, you know. So you got to just keep being there for each other. I think when people realize you're listening, they get grounded, you know. So if I'm not doing an event in Peru, which to me is like the most magnetic or majestic kind of grounding space for me, and kind of that's what helps me assist the groups I serve, the people that come down. Like if I'm doing a program, I think I'm doing a partner yoga training in West Palm in July or whatever, like then it's just learning how to connect. learning how to connect with people, and being there. Once they realize that you're there, it's like, cool, they relax. People let their guard down. And
What's up, everyone? It's Pedro. I hope you're enjoying this episode of The Yogi Show. No lie, if I never met Francisco, I'm not sure I start yoga, and that would mean that there's no Yogi Show. So an immense amount of gratitude for him being in my life and inspiring me so much over the years, and then here we are having a conversation. So before we get back to the episode, I want to give a quick shout out to our sponsor, Ajna Wellbeing, for being with us and supporting the show and supporting you. I've been using their acupressure products for so long. They've helped me so much. If you have back pain, neck pain, need a little bit of relief, I'm telling you, grab an acupressure mat, grab a pillow, and try it out. You get 15% off by using promo code YOGISHOW15 at Amazon.com/Ajna. Amazon.com/AJNA and use promo code YOGISHOW15 for 15% off your purchase. I cannot recommend their products enough, and I'm so grateful that they're here sponsoring the show. Check it out, my friends. Let's get back to the show. That's amazing, man. That's amazing. And that's so good that, like, when you're talking about grounding, is like, that's like the one thing that everyone is like, everybody's all up in the air about, like, everything, like, because everything's so fast. Like, who's taking a deep breath anymore? Like, who's taking a deep breath? I don't know. Like, I find it rare. Like, when I take a deep breath now, I'm like, holy shit! Like, I took a deep breath. Brian, what do you say? Whatever bullshit you got to say, Brian. Go ahead. I can see it in your face.
I'm just loving this. I'm loving all this. I'm loving all this. I'm soaking it up. I'm loving all this because it is so important to relax, and it's so important to listen. And Francisco, like you're saying, like listening and community, no matter what anybody has on their exterior or their mask, like from what I'm learning, no matter what you look like or your exterior mask or how tough you are or whatever you're doing out there, it's like everybody wants love and acceptance. Everybody wants to be loved and to be accepted. And if you can listen to that, if you can talk to that, and if you can talk to that person inside that's deep down that wants that love and acceptance, like they're going to hear that. They're going to feel that, and especially us as guys, like we have our masks, we have our, like, we're tough, we're competitive, we're this, we're that, we're this, we're that, but we all want love and acceptance. We all want that.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So many dudes put a noose around their neck to go to work. You know what I'm saying? It's like, like choking up. I remember, like, I used to do that in my old job when I was doing, like, lobbying for parks and stuff. And, I feel it's like I've done different workshops in Peru at, like, orphanage where kids were abused physically and by their parents, like the person they're supposed to have the most trust with. And then I'm moving in what, other cultures, like, and then I go to Aspen, Colorado, where it's like people got, way too many houses and, and it's like, and it's like, okay, here we are. And I have to be like, okay, I can't just, everyone's got a unique thing going on, and you just gotta, and it goes back to what you're saying, Brian. It's like everyone wants that love and acceptance, and if you can learn how to connect, then we can learn how to collaborate and, like, work together as a community. Because ultimately, like, our community is like all humans on Earth. Like, that's our community at the end of the day.
Yeah. I listened to a TED Talk the other day, and it was about it was like, I'm probably jacking all this up, but it was about a psychiatrist that, like, he was in a different country, and, like, this guy, like, got hurt and he couldn't work in his normal job. So, like, the community bought this guy a cow so he could do something different with his work, because he was, like, sad because he couldn't, like, work and do what he was supposed to be doing. And they got him a cow, and they were saying that cow was his antidepressant because he can go and do something else. And it was part of the community that bought him that cow as his antidepressant to, like, do something else. And it was just touching, because that's, like, community right there. It's like, we're all needing like antidepressants or like all this or pills or whatever. But it's like, if the community kicks in and like helps each other, like we're going to be each other's antidepressant,
Yeah, for sure. Buddy.
Yeah. And they figured out how to keep that brother engaged,
Exactly.
And I think even, man, even that happens with elders, man, it's like people retire and all of a sudden like what they've been doing for a long time.
Yeah.
And then they start getting sick right away,
Mm-hmm.
and like my grandfather, he's 98, and I'm going to go do, I do Thai massage. I'm going to go do a massage on him day after tomorrow. And I was talking to him. I was like, no, the brother's 98.
98. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
man. He's
Mine's
like
95, but 98.
Well, to me, 95.
No, he's 90. I lied.
Same,
90. No, 90. He's 90.
Same neighborhood.
If you're over 90,
I was
great
wrong.
job.
I was
Yeah.
still 90 though. Still 90.
Yeah.
His name's
Yeah,
Pedro. So
totally,
I'm hoping
man.
I hope I make it there, bro. Hope my back doesn't feel like this though. Shit.
Better do more yoga.
Yeah.
I better do more yoga.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I mean, like yeah. I mean, 90, 98, 95, whatever, man. I mean, these guys are up there. They must know something,
Mhm.
And he's like, I just never retired, I'm still, he's like, I just keep my mind lucid. He's like, I try to take the stairs all the time, and,
Oh shit,
and I
Gramps.
keep I keep a spiritual connection to my surroundings and, so
Yeah. We're the only species in the entire world that has retirement. We're the only species. The human species is the only species that has retirement.
Yeah.
Any other
Yeah.
species is in action all the time. If you're in action all the time, you're gonna be living, everybody.
Live it up, man.
yeah, man.
Live it up.
When my mom was going to retire from work, she's like, what should I do? I was like, go to Peru. Cause like down there, like it's just a different way of treating the elders sometimes, it's like,
Mhm.
they're not just put into retirement homes,
Right.
they're at home.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah.
And there's no like I asked my dad that quote. My dad's 63, 60, I don't know, 63 or something. I asked him recently, I said, when are you gonna hang it up? Like he's a chef, he's a professional chef. He's like, I'm not thinking about that. Like, if I hang that up, like what am I gonna do? He's like, I'm just going. And he instilled all the work ethic in me, like to just all day, like nonstop.
Yeah, he's like, I'm keeping going. I saw Yogi Brian cooking. I can't stop.
Yeah. He's going to start his like chef podcast.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
This guy's got some charisma, man, for sure, man. Get him in front of the camera. He's ready to go.
Heck
So,
yeah. Heck
no,
yeah.
it's been amazing, man. I want to ask you, Francisco, about retreats in Peru, because a lot of our listeners,
Yes.
they love retreats. They love retreats. And you're you're the retreat guy. I mean, you're like
You're the guy.
the guy, that does it, especially in Peru. But tell us about Peru and like an experience that you would take somebody on in Peru and like the healing journey that can happen from going on a magical trip to Peru with you. Or just in Peru in general.
I think you can learn a lot about the culture through the arts. My assumption, like when people sign up to go to a retreat, I try to make the assumption that they might never, like this is going to be their only time ever coming down here,
Sunday,
So I'm like, okay.
Sunday. Only time to go to the retreat.
Yeah. So this is going to be like, they're the only experience to go to Peru. So what, I want them to get home and like keep talking about the good time they had and the good stories and how it affected them. And I can't make it like super packed. So it's like sharing everything about my culture, but I want them to retreat as well. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to relax and take care of themselves, breathe, and meanwhile, so it's gotta be a little bit of a balance. So it's a really thoughtful kind of organizing of a schedule for them. So if I'm doing the retreat for myself or I'm collaborating with someone that's bringing their group of people, I just connect with them to see like, okay, what does their culture like? What do they need? And I create a schedule that is going to be the best for them. Right. Good food, the staples, good food, good housing. I really, everyone who comes to Peru wants to see Machu Picchu,
Yeah, no doubt.
So we go to Machu Picchu, and then prior, like when they get there, some of the groups, I have a really good friend of mine. He's one of the best like Peruvian architects, and he did his like master thesis on like the Inca architecture. So I do a little presentation for them on what that's about, so they get a little bit of grounding on the Inca architecture. And good place to stay. So we have a good home base. And a really nice schedule, so it's not too hectic, but they get to really experience the culture and visit a lot of the sacred sites that kind of define the culture.
Sounds amazing, dude. Sounds amazing. So shameless plug for ourselves, like a fall of 2021. I'm collaborating. We're going to go. We're making that happen. We're going to Peru. So
I can't wait to host you, man.
Yeah,
we're
amazing,
us three are doing a retreat. Just wild carding it.
Like,
You've sold me.
Happening.
We had you on the show so we can go do a retreat.
So we can, yeah. We actually only invited you on the show so that you could like tell us about it. We can come with you.
No, you actually sold me on all that. Like, when you're talking about good food, I'm already like signed up. Like I was already on
link in bio.
Yeah, on my Chrome browser, signing up right now, looking at the food.
Yeah, we're pretty snobby about our food, man. I'll tell you that. Like everywhere you go, like, you know, a friend of mine who's coming down on the retreat I'm leading in May is like, "What's the street food like?" And I'm like, "It's delicious." You know, like it's like if you go to, you know, he's from New York, and it's like hot dog, you know, like you know, hot dogs, pretzels, pizza, you know, totally. And I was like, "Oh, we have like maca emollients. You get like really good corn. The kernels are like the size of a quarter. You know, it's like, you know, like different. It's just really good." Yeah, the food, even the street food is, you know, not even the street food, because street food tends to have a really good flavor here, but the ingredients, I mean, so a little insight about Peru. It's, so years ago, the GMOs, genetically modified, like, seeds try to like be introduced to the country, and the government was going to accept it because, you know, there's a lot of money to be made. Every farmer in the country went on strike.
Oh shit!
You know, yeah,
Oh, snap, yeah,
yeah.
Oh shit!
Okay, because the earth is a goddess. Like it's not just some hippie conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like it's a goddess. So
what happened then?
Well, then they were still debating accepting it because the GMO, because there was a lot of money to be made still, but they were going to bring in the workers to farm the land. And then they're like, "Oh, well, then we're going to have to deal with a lot of unemployment." And then they had to veto the GMO.
Got it.
You know?
What year was that?
This was about 10 years ago.
Wow.
So it gives you a little insight. Man. Yeah, power to the people. And like it also gives you a little insight to like the rhythm of the culture, but also to like how damn tasty the food is, you know, because it doesn't have any of those things in it.
Doesn't have any of that stuff in it. Yeah.
No, man.
Yeah. That's
amazing. I'm not super brilliant. Like when I start looking at the ingredients, like I have no idea. You know, I have friends that are scientists and stuff. They like can really tell me what all those ingredients are. Like, but over here, it's like the ingredients are like, you know, just straight up potato. You know, like you can read them. Yeah.
You actually know what it is. There's not like red 40 in your stuff, man. You don't have red 40 and yellow 5.
Blue number 42. Yeah.
Gosh, right? Yeah.
None of that, man.
Yeah, it's like if you want to eat healthy, just watch what animals eat and eat what animals eat: nuts, berries, fruit, whatnot. But Karen out there, if you're mad that I said meat, stop listening.
Don't watch the cooking with.
But in Peru, they eat a lot of chicken, right? Or am I totally wrong?
Well, no, for sure. I mean, like I think we eat a lot of fish.
Fish.
Okay.
We eat a lot of food, man. We don't discriminate,
food.
But we just take care of. Yeah, we eat everything. Yeah, the ceviche is good.
Ceviche, man.
Yeah, the ceviche is really good. The food's really good. I think the chicken kind of took off in the States because it's easy and fast to make. You know,
I have a Peruvian friend in the States and nonstop chicken everything chicken, and it's delicious.
Yeah, totally. I was talking to a Palestinian girlfriend of mine who lives in LA who took a synergy training. I led in Montreal, Deanna, and yesterday, and she hit me up and she's like, "Your chicken is so good. I got to make it to Peru." I was like, "What?" It's that rotisserie chicken.
You're like, well, when you come here, we got everything.
Yeah,
everything.
Go. Yeah, let's
sign me up.
Francisco, tell us about a little bit of the native traditions and practices that are in Peru. I saw a picture of a sweat lodge. I don't know. I think it was on the same post about the Rainbow Mountain, a sweat lodge. Do you guys do sweat lodges on your retreats, or is that just or maybe?
Yeah, some of them for sure. I mean, it's like not all the retreats are kind of cookie cutter, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was saying, I kind of like form them according to the guests.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't like impose a certain structure. Like the thing is that I've been doing them for a long time, so I'm pretty flexible with like cultivating a nice agenda for their journeys. And the last one we did a temazcal, which is pretty popular in native traditions, like from North to South America.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as the rituals, like that's one that is like kind of crosses. They call it like the North America is like the eagle, and the South America is the condor, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they, if you really get down into the old stories, it's like they communicated through these birds between the Americas, and they went on journeys, whether they were induced by different plant medicine in the north or the south of the Americas or not. And the temazcal, the sweat lodge, is open to the four elements. You open the door to the four elements, and you sit in a circle. A lot of these like cultures are very circle oriented, and I think it goes back to what you're talking about, competition and the me, and I have a lot of friends that are still in that competitive vibe till their body's so beat up and they just like fall down. They're like, "Yo, give me some yoga."
Right?
But
Yeah.
You just read you just read my mail. That's my life.
Yeah, I mean, we got to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, I know, man.
But
we just became BFFs.
Yeah, for sure, forever, ever. But so it's that circle, and I think the circle goes back. All the native structure, all the native like cultures, to me, go back to the circle. It's like, there's no like, there are certain differences, for sure, but they all go back to the circle and the collaboration and the common unity, right? The community, and and I think that's like, when I started teaching partner yoga back in the day, it was like, I started a thing called like, I started a practice called with a couple of friends called acro yoga, and it got popular really fast. And I think it was the reason it got popular is because people wanted to work together. They got tired of looking at themselves in the mirror, like breathing. They wanted a community, and the way we started the workshops back in the day was we would start the workshop in a circle and finish in a circle, and in between we do some partner stretching and do some, different movement stuff, like some athletic stuff, some like pain liberating exercises as well, kind of like that balance.
Do people know that you started acro yoga? Do they know? Like, I remember you told me that you started acro yoga when we were in Hawaii, when I took your synergy workshop a couple years ago. When you told me you were like, you started acro yoga with some acrobats in your house, I was like, what? Like we had
a rent control apartment in San Francisco in Nob Hill. They call it Snob Hill, and it was $300 a month. $300 a month. So me, my buddy Jason, who was my roommate, my friend Jenny, and my friend Carolyn, she was like a Thai massage therapist. Jason was an acrobat. I was bringing more like Thai massage and the yoga, like more like partner stretching stuff, and he was more into the flying. And Jenny was like a circus and gymnast performer, and Carolyn was a Thai masseuse. So the four of us collaborated and started doing the first like acro yoga workshops. And because we were in San Francisco, it's like when you start something in yoga and you're based around the offices of Yoga Journal, it kind of takes off pretty quick because they start like putting all the people that are in their neighborhood on the magazines, they're not going to fly you in from New York to feature you.
No.
So because the magazine was there, it just kind of helped it take off, because back then, like Yoga Journal was like the big catalyst for like,
Sure.
that was like the resource,
Yeah, there was no Instagram, man. Like you had to get subscribed, you had to get the mailer, you had to get the subscription, you had to get
Totally,
I still have the magazine.
Were you on the cover?
No, but I did like their Yoga Journal conference,
Hey, you're good enough to be on the cover, brother. You are.
No, man, no. They weren't putting people that look like me on the cover back then.
Oh, come on, man.
Hey, man,
I don't have any hair either. Have any hair either. If you're watching the YouTube, I took my hat off. I have no hair.
Hey, Brian, you got no fucking shot at the cover, bro. Me neither with these kitty cat headphones either.
No shot.
Hey, we had Catherine on the show. We had Catherine Budig on the show. I think she's been on the cover more than anybody ever. So, yeah, but whatever.
Nice. It was actually a cat show.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a cat show.
My cat's been on the cover 3 times.
Nice.
Man, that's amazing that you started that, and then you went the therapeutic route. And so that take us to Synergy Yoga and how I took your workshop, and it was amazing to see like the partner elements, the community connections, sitting in that circle that you're talking about, and then doing these partner exercises. And it's almost like team building, but it's community building with people that are there for a like-minded reason to connect, to be together, and maybe experience something new. So take us to how Synergy Yoga came to be, because I know that's like that's a lot of your eggs are in that basket, and it's a beautiful thing. So tell us about it.
Yeah, so the Synergy Yoga, it started with the partner yoga, and now it's like my friend Linda Key. She's a capoeirista and she's a thespian as well. Mm-hmm. She's an actress in Canada, Filipina actress, and she does the team building part of Synergy Yoga. But it started with partner yoga, and it does kind of lend itself to like team building and building bridges and collaboration between people, but it started just to use one another's weight to create space and liberate the body from pain, to kind of support your yoga practice and or support like your athletic or static endeavor, whatever it may be. So we do a lot of partner stretching. We do a lot of therapeutic flying and Thai massage. And then my friend Lucy and I started to put together more like games. And you met Lucy in Hawaii, actually.
Yeah, she's still part of it?
She's doing more like stand-up right now in New York. Mm-hmm. At the Real Lucy Shelby, that's her thing. I'll throw her a little shout.
So sweet.
Nice.
Yeah, she's a trip. But so we started to bring more games into it as well, because people want to laugh, people want to play, so we do a little bit of that, but that's like a very small section of it. Most of the partner yoga work consists of like creating space and being able to like, open up the body and liberate the muscles.
So now you're like in charge. Like you're the guy?
Well, so I've been doing just workshops until a couple of years ago when my teacher passed. And a couple of years ago, I started doing certifications, like Thai massage certifications.
Yeah.
And like level 1. And now I'm going to do my first level 2 in Hawaii just to like, because I think that's like a destination, so it's going to be nice to do a level 2 there. People can get a chance to get into that aloha vibe,
Yeah, aloha, man. So that's incredible that you're taking that group back to Hawaii, and that's where we met in Hawaii, in Hilo, doing the whole Synergy Yoga, the whole vibe, the whole thing. And I know you're saying Frances now owns that place, and how crazy is that?
Yeah.
That worked out. Like she was the friend that I didn't know until I went there, and then you met her, and now you're having Synergy back there. So Brian, if you want to do Synergy Yoga, get on a plane. You got to fly to Hawaii. You got to go
there.
September, bro.
I'm there. Sign me up.
Making it happen.
Sign me up. I'm telling my wife we're going.
Yeah, let's go.
I got a couple of days waiting for you guys. I'll meet you at the airport.
LA? Oh man, dude, the yellow ones with the, I forget the name. Puakini is the name of the yellow flower, because a lot of them come with the plumeria, is like the traditional
Yeah.
Hawaiian lei,
Yeah.
but the puakini is the yellow flowers, and it's like the royal lei that you get.
Pedro talks about that Hawaii trip like nonstop, so it must be great.
I think it inspired him a lot, man. It was
Changed
cool
my
to
life,
watch. He was
man.
like he was like looking into the ether like half the time, you know, and he was running around. I mean, that aloha vibe is not just like aloha, you know, it's like, it's fierce.
Dude, it's the real deal. I remember every day I would wake up. I lived in the back of the yoga studio. I would wake up, I would teach a class or take a class, and I would get in the car that we were renting, this shitty RAV4 with a shitty transmission. And we slept in the back in a cage. Francisco stayed in there with me for 2 nights, actually. And we just drove around to all the different parts of the island.
Awesome.
It's every day, just all these different beaches, all these different places. I drove for hours. I didn't even care. It was amazing, man. It was the fucking best. So it was cool,
so
man.
Francis
changed my life.
Owns that studio now with Erin, her friend.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And that's just a baby. So if you're ever in Hilo, Hawaii, you need to go to Francis' studio in Hilo, Hawaii, and go check it out. You got to check out Francisco.
You gotta do it. If you're in Hilo, Hawaii, and you don't go there,
especially in September, you got to check it out.
Very disappointed in you if you don't check that out.
I know you got one other thing going on that we talked about before, the Yoga Mar Festival. And I remember that from a couple of years ago that we had, I don't know how it came up a couple of years ago. We chatted about that Yoga Mar. Are you still doing that these days?
Yeah. The next one's going to be July, like at the end of July, 2021. That's the next one.
Tell us the background on it and why it's so amazing, the nonprofit behind it, because that's inspiring as shit. Because I want to start a nonprofit someday for yoga, and I don't know where to start or what to do, but I know you've been doing a lot of work with it. So can you please tell us about it?
So a lot of it started, like, I started working with my buddy Christian. He's Swiss, and my friend Senia, his wife, she's Peruvian, and they're both like environmental engineers. And they started a nonprofit way back in the day doing a lot of conservation education in the northern beaches of Peru. And then we started the Yoga Mar Festival to use yoga as a catalyst to get people to talk about this conservation movement. And the idea is, like, I mean, the north of Peru is like really beautiful ocean, man, like large variety of microclimates in the water in the world. You know, like you're swimming and you'll see, like, you're like swimming by a school of seahorses. It's just like galloping by you, you know, like all kinds of ocean life. Gone swimming up there with humpback whales, and like for real, like I jumped in humpback whale, and I swear I was like so moved, I started crying, and then I started pissing because I was so scared at the same time. Like I was
how
like,
big is the humpback
literally,
whale? Like how big? How many body lengths of yours? How many body lengths?
I don't know, man. My friend Sebastian, like, you got to talk to Ceviche about that, because like he's the marine biologist. I have no idea how big they are, but like huge. You know, like I mean, it's a humpback whale. I think it's the second largest whale after the blue whale. But I was literally like crying and pissing at the same time. You hear it's, ooh, you like hear it's like, you know, hypnotic sound, you know. And so I grew up in the coast of Peru, like surfing and fishing. So I've always been like in love with ocean. And you know, we wanted to use yoga as a catalyst because yoga brings all kinds of people together, different economic brackets, and they're all supposed to be nice to each other under the yoga umbrella, you know. And that's cool. You know, that's the one good thing. That's the thing I really appreciate about yoga in general, whether you're doing like asana, where you're like super physical about it, yoga, or you're doing just meditative or whatnot. It kind of like pushes people to bring their good out. So we started the Yoga Mar. We started a nonprofit, and the Yoga Mar Festival was doing like, you know, positive, like ecotourism, like showing the fishermen in the north sometimes would kill the turtles because the turtles would make holes in the nets and threaten their market, you know, their fish, and what they were cultivating. And we started to show them that if you keep the turtles alive, it can actually be good for the wildlife because it'll help increase ecotourism, because a lot of tourists want to come up and see the turtles. So then that kind of took away that epidemic, and now the turtles are thriving and doing well and appreciated. Also, a lot of the fishing in the north of Peru is kind of like the old west, like old school fishing. Like it's like old man in the sea type thing, where they're out in the front of the boat with a spear. And a lot of these old fishermen at nights, a lot of the kids would hear like tragic stories. So a lot of kids are afraid of the ocean. So the South American Peruvian surf champion, Javier, we would do surf classes for the kids as part of the festival, to kind of get them to connect to the ocean in a playful, adventurous manner, to help rid that fear that they may have, because they've heard old stories about people dying in the ocean. And so the north of Peru, the northern coast of Peru, has like a unique. Every coastal beach has like every coastal beach. Every beach is coast. Every beach has like a unique connection to the ocean, right? So these are the stories for the northern Peru Yoga Mar. So through the nonprofit, we're cultivating a Yoga Mar festival kit to provide to other beach towns that need it, to create yoga community in a festive environment, but also to move in harmony with nature and to support the nonprofits that are already involved in this conversation, and to increase the conversation of ocean as medicine and ocean as food, as positive food and ecotourism. Does that spiel make sense?
Yeah, dude, it does.
Yeah,
it's awesome.
Makes
cool.
Yeah, so much sense. Dude. Save the turtles.
Yeah,
I want to go snorkeling. I want to see turtles. Okay, if I don't see turtles, like, my retreat is ruined. I want to see turtles. I want to see seahorses.
Yeah, I want to
either. I want to piss on myself and I want to cry on myself when I go.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you're either having a really good day if that happens, or you're having a really shitty day. And if I'm going,
you're probably having no more days.
Yeah.
And if I'm going on a retreat with Francisco, I'm having a great day if that's happening.
Yeah. Wow. That's life-changing stuff, man. Like you're doing so much amazing work, and you've done so much amazing work over the time that you've been doing all the things that you've been doing. So it's just a pleasure to know you and to know that you're the catalyst behind so many things in the yoga community and change over the course of the past, 20 years or however long you've been in the mix, leading all of these experiences all over the globe. I mean, nonstop. I mean, I thought I knew people that traveled a lot, but until I met you in Hawaii that day and you told me your agenda for like the next 6 months, I was like, what? Like, how are you even alive, bro? How are you even going to be able to do all of that, and you did, and you're still doing it. So amazing, man.
Yeah.
Inspiring.
Yeah.
So
yeah, brother.
I think
just keep your, go ahead.
Yeah. No, I think that leads us into the lighten up round. It's our favorite part. My favorite part of the show, man. Do you know about the lighten up round, Francisco? Do you know anything about the lighten up round?
No idea.
Okay, good. Okay, great. That's the best part about this. So we're gonna ask you questions. It's kind of like the lightning round. When you have a lightning round on the show, it's just kind of like some rapid fire questions, and like you just give like a 1-word answer. Except ours is a little bit different. So the lighten up round, we ask you random as fuck questions.
Random as fuck.
And you don't need we don't even really know what we're going to ask you, but I definitely know it's going to be something about whales. That Yogi Brian's going to say something about whales, and it's going to be fun. So don't think too hard about the questions. Just have a little bit of fun with them, a little bit of fun,
cool.
And no stress, So the question is, who could hold a Pinchamayurasana pose longer? Who could do it longer? A seahorse or a turtle?
Seahorse.
No doubt. Drops mic.
I want to know, next question here. I want to know who pisses themselves with you? A blue whale or like a big whale or a shark? Like when you're in the water, like who's actually... And we're not cutting this out.
Who's actually
like who would piss themselves and cry with you? A blue.
I'm trying to be spontaneous and just give you the quick answer, but this is a really thoughtful question.
You're saying building.
I would say the blue whale.
Give it all the thought, man.
everyone, we're all sharing in that like beautiful urine ocean vibe, like they're all pissing on each other.
So good. Who is better at capoeira? Who's better at capoeira? A monkey or a giraffe?
A zebra.
That wasn't one of the things. It was monkey.
I love it. We go zebra. Zebra. First guest that made his own answer.
Bro, you're gonna ask me that. Yeah.
You're the first guest.
If you're gonna ask me these questions, you gotta be open to me giving you option number 3.
Hey man, we're open to anything on this show, man.
Yeah.
All right, Brian. Last one. Get him.
All right. Last one. Okay. If you were to pay a deposit and go on a retreat to Peru, we're gonna go to Peru on this one. If you're gonna go online and you're looking at pictures and you're gonna pay a deposit on which of these two you're going to go on a retreat with, would it be a sea turtle or a seahorse? What would you do? Like, who would you trust?
Turtle.
Who would you want to go?
Turtle? Wise turtle.
The turtle.
Mm.
The turtle,
Yeah.
man. The turtle. Did you
Same
remember
here.
swimming with the turtle?
Yeah.
Have you swam with the turtles before? Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember.
Yeah, I
doing
used
that
to
once.
like when I'd go to Kauai, I would like put fins on and just follow them around for hours.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kauai is pretty cool.
Kauai is
Kauai,
amazing. Kauai is amazing.
Kauai.
I've been to Kauai. It's amazing. You feel like you're in a dream.
Yeah.
You feel like you're literally in
Yeah.
a yoga nidra session every single day. It's amazing.
Love it, bro.
Yeah.
Good times.
Well, Francisco,
Yeah.
this has been inspiring AF, man. I cannot wait to come to Peru. And I
Yes.
know that all the listeners out there that have been listening to this episode that are still with us now are coming to Peru too.
I'm coming.
I'm
coming.
And they come with a retreat with me, with Brian, with you. But if it's not us, they're coming with you because you're the guy. Like you are the guy that does this in Peru.
Yes.
So.
And I was saying, like, I always see that Machu Picchu picture. Like you see it all the time. Like
Yeah,
online, like the one, like, and I probably will do that because I'm going to go on this retreat. I'm going to do it. I'm going to go.
You're good.
I'm about
Can
to
you
go.
do Pincha Mayarasana on the top?
That's all
of
I
Machu
do.
Picchu?
Like,
He only does one yoga pose, Francisco. Pincha
Yeah. Pichu Macho.
Pichu Machu Picchu
Sorry.
chicken.
Machu Picchu Rasana.
Pichu Macho. Yeah, man, I'll take you to the ocean. You can piss on yourself. It's going to be great.
Can't wait. I can't wait.
Amazing, man. So much
Yeah,
fun.
it's beautiful, man. We'll eat some good food. Just get down here, man. I think everyone should come down, but I think that's how everyone feels about their hometown, but
Yeah.
it's a special place for sure. And I'm really happy you guys are doing what you're doing. Like, I love that you're creating this space for people to express themselves and be their weird self and bring some brothers to talk.
Yes.
And without a doubt, man, I mean, you're using this medium in a pretty awesome way and you're getting people to laugh through the memes,
Yeah.
Laughter is healing, man. When people are like laughing, they're not worried about their shit, you can't. So thank you for having me on.
Love it,
I
brother.
really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. Yeah, dude, we appreciate you so much, man. It's been such a pleasure.
Appreciate
thanks
it.
Thanks for all the love, the support, and the kickoff to the yoga journey, man.
Boom.
South Francisco. It's out.
Yeah, next year we're doing it, brother.
We're doing it, man.
Aloha.
So, aloha, my friends, and namaste.
Namaste, everybody. Thank you so much for listening to the Yogi Show podcast. Be sure to tell your friends, family about the podcast. Visit theyogishow.com. We have all of Francisco's contact information if you want to contact him, if you want to go on a retreat to Peru or go on a retreat wherever he has retreats. Check that out, theyogishow.com. We appreciate each and every one of you. And remember, gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Namaste.